You came from marine iguanas that were exposed to nuclear tests for decades on Mururoa Atoll. Radiation didn't just mutate you, it rewrote how your body grows, replacing normal cells with hyperadaptive tissue. Your DNA now replicates faster than any natural reptile on record, turning evolution into a speedrun. As a newborn, you stood roughly 6 feet tall and weighed about 200 pounds, similar to a large Komodo dragon on steroids. By adulthood, you reach 180 feet tall and approximately 300 to 330 feet long, weigh 500 tons. That's taller than the Christ the Redeemer statue in Brazil, but still shorter than the Trump Tower, which stands 664 feet tall. In mass terms, you're equal to about 7 to 8 battle tanks. A modern battle tank is approximately 60 to 70 tons. You move like a jet engine strapped to a reptile spine. Bursts up to 120 to 150 miles per hour on land have been estimated. A normal car barely hits 120 miles per hour. The fastest human alive, Usain Bolt, tops out at 27 miles per hour, meaning even the world's record sprinter couldn't outrun you for more than 2 seconds. You move with incredible agility, able to keep up a full sprint for long stretches. On land or in water, your speed is impressive, letting you outpace almost anything in your path. You're equally at home above or below the surface. Your claws and snout allow you to dig through compacted soil, subway concrete, and soft bedrock, making escape routes faster than explosives. In water, you can dive over 1,000 feet tall deep and swim at speeds near 93 miles per hour, rivaling torpedoes. You don't vanish dramatically. You just outmaneuver sonar and disappear beneath blind spots. You exhale a superheated jet of combustible gas which ignites in open air. It's not pure radiation. It's chemical plasma fueled by your internal reactor-like organs. At full release, the flame temperature exceeds approximately 1,800 to 2,100 degrees Fahrenheit, enough to melt steel beams or punch through concrete walls. Each breath consumes the energy equivalent of a small power station running for 10 minutes. You reproduce parthenogenetically, meaning you lay fertile eggs without a mate. Each clutch can contain 200 to 250 eggs, each about the size of a beach ball, and you build nests in enclosed, stable spaces with steady temperature and moisture. Once hatched, the offspring are 9 to 10 feet tall and begin hunting immediately. They are carnivorous. They grow fast, fight each other, and only a handful survive to maturity. Think less motherly instinct, more biological factory with a 95% failure rate. Your tail measures roughly 90 to 100 feet long and weighs close to 150 tons, about the same as 25 African elephants combined. It's both weapon and stabilizer, capable of smashing tanks, derailing trains, or sweeping crowds aside with hurricane-force wind. But when the momentum shifts, that same tail becomes a liability. A wrong move and you can flatten your own flank like a wrecking ball with bad timing. Your tail-assisted agility and balance. Your outer skin isn't impenetrable armor. It's keratin enriched with silicon and radioactive isotopes, similar in hardness to titanium. Skin resistant to small arms and artillery fragments, compromised by concentrated missiles and heavy penetrators. When under continuous fire or extreme heat, the outer layer chars and cracks. To cool down, you use the surrounding water or soil to bleed heat through conduction. Imagine a nuclear engine covered in volcanic rock. It protects you until it starts glowing red. You consume primarily large marine life, whales, sharks, schools of tuna, but radiation acts as your metabolic shortcut. Without it, your strength and speed drop by over 40% in less than a week. It's the predator equivalent of a lion forced to live on grass. You'll survive, but you'll be weaker, slower, and constantly hungry. Every step you take exerts around 30,000 to 40,000 psi of pressure, roughly the same load as the wheel of a fully fueled Boeing 747. Bridges bend, subway tunnels buckle, and water mains burst under your weight. One city block under your feet behaves like a shaking plate. Asphalt fractures, glass shatters, and parked cars bounce as if in an earthquake. You're not a simple surface hunter. You can burrow through soil, asphalt, and reinforced concrete. Each claw strike delivers a force of 20 to 25 tons, enough to tear open a subway wall or tunnel ventilation shaft. Cities built on soft clay or landfill become your playground. The ground literally caves in behind you. Seismograph data following collapse events align with burrow assault signatures. Despite reptilian origins, your brain is large, about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. You memorize escape routes, recognize traps, and test responses from aircraft. In short, you adapt. Predators rely on instinct. You rely on data gathered in real time. That makes you less of a dumb beast and more of a walking biological algorithm. You avoids heavy artillery zones and adapts entry points for maximum surprise. Your roar reaches 170 to 180 decibels, measured near the chest cavity, louder than a rocket launch, 165 decibels. At that range, glass shatters within 2 miles, and unprotected human eardrums rupture in under 5 seconds. To anything smaller than a titan, your voice is a concussion grenade with lungs. You don't roar to intimidate, you roar to clear space. You can enter hibernation for 10 to 15 years, depending on environmental radiation and food supply. Triggers for awakening include nuclear contamination, sonar vibrations, or the scent of mass marine death. Your version of a dinner bell. During dormancy, your body temperature drops to near ambient, and your metabolism slows to 5% of normal. In simple terms, you don't sleep lightly. You switch off like a reactor waiting to power back on. You're smaller than the monster-verse Godzilla 393 feet tall, and lighter than Shin Godzilla approximately 101,000 tons, but faster and far more energy efficient. While they rely on raw power and radiation, you rely on speed, stealth, and terrain manipulation. You're the equivalent of a tactical strike unit among walking nuclear plants. Each movement costs absurd energy. A single tail swing releases roughly 400 megajoules, equal to the kinetic energy of 10 M1 Abrams tanks firing their cannons at once. You burn through about 200 gigajoules every minute of combat, enough to power a small city block for a day. Despite being over 160 feet tall, you blend in better than some drones. Your scales absorb radar and scatter sonar, creating ghost signals. At night, your body temperature can drop below infrared detection limits for short bursts. To human technology, you're not invisible. You're worse. An intermittent, unpredictable blip that looks like an error until it eats the observer. Satellite thermal logs show sudden cool cloaks synchronous with your coastal exits. You're not just a predator, you're an ecological reset button. Wherever you go, radiation levels spike by 20 to 40% above background for months. Fish and crustaceans mutate. Some thrive, most die. The soil absorbs isotopes, plants grow faster but weaker, and scavengers adapt to feed on your residue. You don't simply destroy an ecosystem, you rewrite it with nuclear handwriting. Each egg is coated in a calcium shell strong enough to survive small arms fire. Hatchlings emerge within 7 to 8 months if conditions are stable. They're born fully mobile, aggressive, and equipped with developing gills for amphibious survival. If even 5% of a 200-egg clutch reached maturity, coastal populations would collapse within a year. That's why your existence isn't just dangerous, it's exponentially dangerous. One survivor equals a future invasion. Hatchlings exhibit coordinated pack behavior for a short period before cannibalism. Yes, they eat each other. You can withstand surface temperatures up to 3,272 degrees Fahrenheit before cellular breakdown begins. When hit by high-energy weapons, say a tank shell or rocket-propelled grenade, your outer skin chars but seals itself, preventing massive bleeding. Repeated impacts, however, overheat your internal muscles, forcing you to retreat to cool environments. For example, a direct RPG hit might scorch a section of your hide, but you'd still keep moving, angry, smoking, and slightly faster. Within 48 hours, you recover from burns. You inhabit coastlines, river deltas, and underwater caves across the Pacific. Your migratory routes include French Polynesia, Japan, and the US Eastern Seaboard. You prefer regions with high fish density and high ambient radiation levels. That means anywhere humans pollute, you find dinner. You're basically a 500-ton environmental consequence that swims. Your body emits gamma and neutron radiation detectable from 12 miles away. After you leave an area, residual radiation stays for weeks. Humans entering too early experience nausea, dizziness, and temporary sterility. Animals exposed to your trail often develop deformities, extra limbs, translucent skin, or partial albinism. In short, when you walk through a city, the Geiger counters start applauding. Once you're spotted, standard aircraft have less than 15% success rate in maintaining radar lock for more than 10 seconds. Submarines tracking you lose sonar contact 80% of the time within the first minute. You can dive faster than a torpedo reloads and surface miles away. Chasing you is like trying to follow a lightning bolt with a telescope. You're not fast for a monster, you're fast for physics. You're not evil. You don't conquer or hate, you just exist. Massively, inconveniently, and destructively. Every movement you make collapses homes, bridges, and power lines simply because you're hungry or tired. You're the world's largest natural disaster with legs. And the worst part? You're not even trying. Your catastrophic impact is a byproduct of scale, not intent. You don't fight for dominance, you fight because the world keeps waking you up. Missile tests, radiation leaks, sonar drills. Every human invention feels like a dinner bell or a threat. So you surface, feed, move on, repeat. To you, that's survival. To humanity, it's a disaster report with your name stamped on it. You're not at war with people. You're just living in a world that refuses to make room for something your size. Existing as you means constant hunger, noise, and movement. The ocean rejects you, the land fears you, the sky hunts you. You can't stop, you can't rest. And every time you do, someone drops another bomb to make sure you keep going. You are power without peace. A creature too big for the planet that created you. Being you isn't glory, it's punishment. Being Zilla isn't easy, but being Biolante is even worse. You're not just big, you're a walking swamp of thorns and vines, constantly shedding toxic sap wherever you move. And that roar? It's not intimidating. It's enough to wither nearby plants and send small animals running for their lives.